350. 350. 350. That's the number I've been told to hide away, to mask with baggy sweaters and loose sweatpants, as if an ill-fitting shirt could shave off 2 pounds. Or 200. It's the number that brings creases to the foreheads of my doctors, and the number the scale reads with its blank mechanical numbers staring up at me as if to remind me I have not kept my New Year's resolution for the 12th year in a row. 350. It's the number that makes me medically, morbidly obese, and yet when I tell my friends I'm fat, they say, "No, you're beautiful," and I wonder why I cannot be both. 350. It's the number that made my classmates say, "Well, you're funny," when we were going around saying one thing that made each of us beautiful. 350. Leaving me indefinitely waiting by the window for someone to come by and tell me they love me, or just that they could love me. This number has led to strangers coming up to me on the street to tell me to stop eating, that anorexia, bulimia would be better than this, that if I could not physically stop shoving food into my mouth, that I should at least have the decency to throw it up afterwards. This number has led to strangers laughing at every attempt I've ever made to lose weight. I go running and they say, "Oh, there she goes, flabbing in the wind." This number has led to strangers trying to bully me so far into hating myself and my body that I lock it away so they don't even have to look at me. And they ask me if I know how bad 350 pounds is on the body, on the muscles, on the bones, on the lungs. And they show me studies. "Don't you know? Don't you see? Look at it." But I already know the weight of 350 pounds on the ankles, and I already know the weight of 350 pounds on the knees, and I already know the weight of 350 pounds on the hips, but mostly I know the weight of 350 pounds on the soul, and I have known a weight like it since I was 5 years old, when my kindergarten classmates decided to inform me that no one would ever want me, that no one would ever love me, that no one would ever be able to look at me with anything other than disgust. And I wanted to ask them if they knew that the weight of what they did to me would weigh me down more than my weight ever did. And I shattered into 1,000 tiny little pieces, like a porcelain teacup left to fall to the ground with no hope of entropy ever gathering it back together again. So I gave them what they wanted, and I hid myself away in the dark recesses of empty classroom corners and in the even darker regions of my mind. I learned to be silent and to move through the world without being seen. I kept my mouth shut and my eyes down so I wouldn't have to look at them, because every time I did, what I saw in their eyes was exactly what they told me I'd see. Disgust. I saw disgust reflected in my own eyes too. And it took me 18 years. 18 years to finally be able to look into a mirror without wincing, to realize that I am more than my body, but nor am I above my body. I run my hands down my sides and I feel the excess flesh beneath it, and it is a worthy part of me. A friend once told me that a person is made up of a heart and a mind and a soul, but also a body. And I always felt so disconnected from the concept that it took me 18 years to realize that I am a person, that there are things both beautiful and terrible inside of me, good and bad, that there are strange, dark places that I don't want you to see, filled with creatures made of shadow and resentment and hate and greed and malice, and that yes, I may have the cruelty of a goddess in my heart, but there is something inside me that made me keep going when all I wanted was to quit. Something warm and kind and good, and that unconditional love is something I am so capable of, despite it all. So before you tell me to lose weight, citing concern for my health, saying I would be more beautiful if I lost just 20 pounds, or that my friends would love me just a little bit more with just a bit less weight, consider this. I already know who I am. I already know my worth, and I already know that I am enough. I am more than my 350. 350. 350.